Hello and welcome to Bachelor Meals. Today I'm going to make some meatloaf. And meatloaf is a loaf of meat. So I'm going to use some ground beef and some ground turkey. These are the two items that I'm going to put in. And I was thinking about grinding up some pork chops so I can have a three meat trio meatloaf, meatloaf, a three meat trio meatloaf. A three meat trio meatloaf. So watch me and let's do it. I had to put my gloves on because what I'm going to do is take the hamburger and the ground turkey and mix it together in this bowl. Then I'll be adding my seasonings and my vegetables and all that in there to make my meatloaf meatloafy. Stay tuned. For one of my vegetables, I got some onions that I had frozen and cut up a while ago, and made sure that I wanted to make sure that onion didn't go bad. So I froze that onion, and now I'm about to put it in my chopper and make it a little bit finely diced, a little bit more finely diced than what it is. I just did a coarse chop on these when I was trying to get them ready to be frozen. I think I might have put too much in there, but I've got this little chopper that my mom gave me for Christmas last year, and I'm quite excited to use it. It's just I think I might have used it one time, but we'll see how it works with frozen onions. You just take it and you pull the string, and it chops it up into little pieces. So they were big, kind of big, chunky onions when I put it in there, but now, oh my goodness, look how finely chopped that is. It's like onion snow. Isn't that amazing? I love that. It's going to go right in my meatloaf. And for the seasonings, I think I'm going to use a steak seasoning that I got from a local grocery store. I'm going to put some of that in there. Well, a lot of that. I got some garlic powder, most definitely. Put some of that in there. A lot of garlic powder. I like a lot of garlic. And some non-salt seasoning. Got from Dollar Tree. Throw all that in there. It wasn't a whole lot. And throw some of the oregano leaves in there as well. Some pepper, black pepper, heavy on the pepper, and a little bit of plain salt. That's about a teaspoonful. So and now I'm about to mix. Mix. And I think it's important to have the gloves on because otherwise this is a mess on your hands. I forgot something. One egg. One egg. And also my breadcrumbs. I almost forgot. No, dump all those breadcrumbs. Now we're gonna mix. And I like using the gloves because it's cold and it can be very, very messy, especially with the egg. But making sure to mix all that together. I decided to leave out the pork chops, because everything else thawed faster, and the pork chops weren't thawed as fast. And then I would have had to grind them, so that would have been a lot more work. So I think just a pound of hamburger and a pound of ground turkey is going to make this very good. And we've mixed the ingredients in: garlic, steak seasoning, salt and pepper, the onions, the salt-free seasoning. Mixed all that in, and it's coming out to a nice loaf consistency. As you see, it's all over my hands, but I'm going to show you. It's like it's coming together as a loaf, where I'll be able to shape it and put it into the pan, ready to go in the oven. So I got my meatloaf into a loaf in my pan, in my bowl, and I think I'm going to cook this in my good old cast iron skillet. I used to have a meatloaf pan, but I can't find it. I don't know where it's at. But I think I'm going to use this bowl, this cast iron skillet. All right, I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I've preheated my oven to 350. I've dropped my meatloaf in the cast iron skillet. I'm going to put a little bit of water in here and cover it so that it doesn't burn from the bottom, and it will hold the moisture in while it's cooking when it's covered. So here we go into the oven. All right, I've put a little bit of water in the pan, and now I'm going to take my Reynolds wrap and cover it up. And stick this right into the oven. We gonna let it cook. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes, so let's check the meatloaf. Smells great. And it's starting to cook all the way through, looks like. It's getting a little brown on the top. So now's the time you can add your topping, whether you're going to add like lettuce, not lettuce, barbecue sauce or ketchup or cheese on the top. I think I'm going to do some ketchup this time because I haven't done that in forever. So let me put my ketchup on and then we'll pop it back into the oven. Okay, we've got our tomato ketchup. Let me see if this has yes, it's got a new bottle. So I'm going to put this on the top. Give it a good squirt. Give that a good squirt of ketchup on the top. Let me see here if I can give you a show. Got that on there like that. I'm going to take some of this juice off of here and make some gravy. So I'll actually just pour that into the thing that I had the onions in, and I'll mix the rest of those onions in the gravy too. That's going to be fantastic. So let's get a spatula. So we're going to drop the meatloaf out. And we will pour that drippings off into this container. And I'm going to stick the meatloaf back in the oven, uncovered, so we can get that extra little crisp taste on the outside. There we go. And we'll be ready to eat soon. Gonna make that gravy. And I think I might make mashed potatoes or I don't know, maybe mac and cheese. So we'll be right back. So I've got my second cast iron skillet, and this is what I'm gonna make the gravy in. So for the gravy, I'm just going to take the drippings from the meatloaf and get that heated up in the cast iron skillet. All of that. So we'll get that heated up, and then we will brown some flour in there. To this mixture, to the hot oil, we're going to add about a third a cup of flour. And when you add the flour in, you want to make sure you stir it around. And you want to get to brown the flour. Now, at this point, depending on how long you brown the flour, that's going to determine whether you have brown gravy or you have white gravy. If you don't brown the flour very much, then you'll have white gravy. If you brown it a lot, then you'll have dark gravy. I also find this to be a good time to add your seasonings. And flour requires a lot of seasoning. So I'm going to stir it around, stir it around. And there's two ways you can thin out your flour. You can use gravy. You can use water or you can use milk. If you want a thicker, heartier gravy, then you'll use milk. If you want just a thinner gravy that's going to be quick and easy to make, then you can use water. So I'm just going to put a little salt and pepper in the gravy. Before I start to add water, I'm going to use water in mine. You stir that around a little bit more. Loosen that up. Oh, shoot. So we've put our salt and pepper in our gravy, and now we've browned it quite nicely where to make a nice dark gravy. So now we're going to add some water. And once you add your water, you want to start stirring. And add your water slowly because you don't want to make it too much water. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. So stir that gravy so it doesn't get lumpy. Add water as it gets thicker. And just keep on stirring. So 1/3 of a cup of flour and that was about a quarter cup of oil is going to almost fill this whole entire cast iron skillet up with gravy. And you just keep stirring as it gets thicker. Add more water. And back in the day, I thought that gravy was just something that was a mystery sauce that, only old people, or grandmas knew how to make it. Like, that's what I thought back in the day. But I was taught how to make gravy from a young lady in her 20s I was in my 20s as well. And she was a good friend of mine who happened to go to college down the street from my apartment at the time. And she worked at a club at night. So when she'd get off from the club, she would come over to my house and hang out and take a nap or whatever until it was time for her to go to school, which was just a couple blocks down from my apartment. So, in the morning, sometimes we would eat, she would cook some breakfast and stuff before I go to work. And um, gravy was one of the things that she taught me to make. And when she taught me how to make the gravy, she was wearing a swimsuit and some heels. And I totally learned how to make gravy from Nisi Greasy. Love you, miss you, mean it. And here we are. We've got our gravy. It's a little lumpy because I've been talking instead of stirring more frequently. But once you get your gravy to the consistency that you want, turn the heat off. And the heat was on a medium high. You can start off on high to get the oil hot and then turn it down a little bit when you put your flour in, just a little because you want your flour to brown. And I got a nice brown gravy. Now you can add whatever seasonings you want to your gravy. I think I might add a little bit of garlic to mine too, to go along with that salt and pepper. Just a little bit, and we'll stir that in really well. So the meatloaf is browning and it's giving a chance for that ketchup topping that we put on top to melt down into the meatloaf. I think I'm going to turn the oven down to about 250 as I let my gravy marinate here on the stove in the heat from the oven. We're going to get ready to check the meatloaf in just a few minutes, and I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I'm going to work on the potatoes because got to have mashed potatoes with gravy and meatloaf. This is going to be bomb. Okay, I've got my mashed potatoes mashed, and I'm ready to add some butter. Oh, I dropped the butter on the floor. But luckily I have more. So we'll add some butter. We'll clean up the butter on the floor in just a minute. Putting in about 2 teaspoons with 2 medium-sized potatoes. That's what I use, 2 medium-sized potatoes. So I'm going to put that in and a touch of milk. Always nice to have a little milk in your mashed potatoes. Turn that heat back on. That's going to give me some good creamy mashed potatoes. And that butteriness is all in there with that butter. So I'm about to take my meatloaf out. Let you guys see what this meatloaf is looking like. Sizzling hot. Perfect looking meatloaf. I'm about to give her a slice. Got my meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and gravy. A great dinner for a meat guy like me. This is Bachelor Meals, And I'm about to plate this up. I'm gonna get me a big scoop of these mashed potatoes. Scoop of mashed potatoes. And then we'll get a knife here so we can cut this meatloaf into some great slices. Yes. So I'm going to grab a couple slices. I'm going to use the fork from the mashed potatoes. It's just me. It's Bachelor meals. So here we go. I want the middle slices. I don't want the edge. I'll save that for a sandwich. Mm-hmm. Meatloaf. Now we're going to need a scoop of gravy. That good old gravy. I think I just use a big spoon. Give it a good stir. Push that spoon down the middle of those potatoes. Bam. Bam. Spoon it over that good old tasty meatloaf. And we got our Bachelor meal dinner. It only took about an hour and 20 minutes. And here we go. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes with homemade gravy. Hey, I'm about to enjoy this, and I hope you come back for more. Give me that fork. Mm-hmm. That gravy, it's got little chunks of meatloaf in it. Oh, that meatloaf. Mmm. The ground beef and turkey was a perfect mixture. And the ketchup topping, I haven't done that in so long. But it came out so great. Thank you for watching. Come back for more.